Hey everyone, welcome back to News Now Nexus. If you're new here, I'm Emmanuel Bassi, and this channel is all about breaking news. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our exciting new content. Let us dive into today's breaking news.
EOPIC for today, the Israel-Hamas War, a grim assessment on Day 3. As the Israel-Hamas War enters its third day, the escalating conflict has left more than 1,000 people dead on both sides. The humanitarian crisis deepens as a staggering 123,000 Palestinians are reportedly displaced. Israel, having regained control of most of its previously captured territories from Hamas, now witnesses the war spreading into its heartland. In a move that has sent shockwaves throughout the international community, the Israeli defense minister has declared a complete siege on Gaza, severing access to electricity, water, and fuel for the inhabitants of the Strip. In this article, we delve into the grim reality of the Israel-Hamas war on Day 3 and examine how the world should brace for its far-reaching impact. The human toll. The toll of human lives lost in this conflict is deeply distressing. Beyond the statistics and numbers, each death represents a tragedy for families torn apart by the violence. Civilians, including women and children, have borne the brunt of the casualties. The international community must grapple with the ethical and moral implications of this ongoing tragedy. 2. Displacement crisis. The displacement of 123,000 Palestinians is a dire consequence of the conflict. Families are forced to leave their homes, seeking safety in overcrowded shelters or with relatives. The humanitarian crisis is compounded by the strain on resources, inadequate living conditions, and limited access to basic necessities. This displacement adds another layer of complexity to an already dire situation. 3. Israel's territorial gains and Central Israel. Israel's military campaign has seen significant territorial gains, reclaiming areas previously captured by Hamas. However, the war's spread into Central Israel introduces new challenges. Rocket attacks on major Israeli cities create panic and disrupt daily life. The security situation within Israel's borders is becoming increasingly precarious. 4. Gaza under siege. The declaration of a complete siege on Gaza by the Israeli defense minister has far-reaching implications. Cutting off access to electricity, water, and fuel is a strategy aimed at weakening Hamas and its ability to sustain the conflict. However, it comes at a significant cost to the civilian population, who are left without essential services, including hospitals and sanitation facilities.
Bloodshed, horror, and utter grief left behind in Israel after a surprise attack by Hamas militants leaves more than 1,000 dead and thousands more injured.
This is Israel's 9/11, and Israel will do everything to bring our sons and daughters back home.
Israeli Defense Forces say it is evacuating more than 24 towns along the Israel-Gaza border, fighting still ongoing in 6 of those locations. What was a surprise attack has tonight turned into an all-out war. The time now in Israel, just after 1 o'clock in the morning, and it has been some 40 hours since Hamas unleashed a deadly and devastating surprise attack on Israel. The streets right now at the Western Wall seemingly silent, save for the occasional blare of an air raid siren. But elsewhere, the fighting continues. Biden monitoring the latest development and pledging support to Israel. Meanwhile, Hamas claims it is holding at least 100 Israelis hostage at this time. Israel's government press office has confirmed that civilians and soldiers are among them.
This is the face of war. This is the sound of war. And this is the human cost of war. Israeli soldiers and civilians taken captive. Yanni Asher believes his wife and 2 children, seen in this video, were among the innocents kidnapped by Hamas.
It was a nightmare came true. We didn't expect that it will be in such power. You know, we never thought that so many terrorists can pass the border, so many terrorists can do such damage.
Indeed, how did this Palestinian militant group launch such a large-scale attack this weekend without warning, striking by air, land, and sea? The Israeli military estimates 2,200 rockets were fired at them. Hamas brags it was more like 5,000, from high-tech to low. Hamas video shows their fighters crossing this border on foot and motorbikes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded by declaring war and launching a counteroffensive, missiles flying in the other direction into the Gaza Strip Sunday morning.
Israel has the right to defend itself and its people. Full stop.
The U.S. now moving warships, including the USS Gerald Ford, and aircraft closer to the conflict zone, with promises for immediate shipments of equipment and munitions. With so many casualties on both sides of the border, hospitals are now being overrun. This one bombed. Medical supplies gone. Doctors Without Borders crying even ambulances are being attacked. Nothing is sacred. Israel has now called up tens of thousands of reservists to beef up its northern border in case the conflict spreads to neighboring Lebanon and Syria.
Right now, the focus has to be on the effort to get to repel the aggression by the Hamas terrorists, to push them back, and to put Israel in a position where this doesn't happen again.
We've struck quite a lot of Hamas's military targets in Gaza already, and we are preparing to expand that military activity and strike further targets.
The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting today. Meanwhile, rockets and artillery fire have been exchanged across the Israeli-Lebanon border. Hamas now admitting they received support from Iran for this surprise attack.
The international response. The world cannot remain passive in the face of this crisis. Diplomatic efforts must intensify to bring about a ceasefire and alleviate the suffering of civilians caught in the crossfire. The United Nations, regional powers, and international organizations must work together to find a path towards de-escalation and eventual peace. 6. Humanitarian assistance. The international community should mobilize resources to provide humanitarian aid to those affected by the conflict. This includes food, clean water, medical supplies, and shelter for displaced Palestinians. Collaborative efforts are essential to ensure the timely delivery of aid to those in need. 7. Diplomacy and conflict resolution. Long-term stability in the region can only be achieved through diplomacy and a comprehensive resolution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. The international community should use its influence to encourage both parties to engage in meaningful dialogue and negotiations. The goal must be to address the root causes of the conflict and work towards a two-state solution that guarantees the security and rights of both Israelis and Palestinians. Conclusion. On day 3 of the Israel-Hamas war, the situation remains dire, with mounting casualties, displacement, and a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The world cannot afford to stand idly by as this conflict deepens. Diplomatic efforts, humanitarian assistance, and a commitment to conflict resolution are urgently needed. The impact of this war extends far beyond the immediate region, and its consequences will be felt for years to come. It is incumbent upon the international community to act decisively and responsibly to mitigate the suffering and bring about a lasting peace in this troubled part of the world.
That wraps up today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and found it entertaining, informative, helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really love to hear from you. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and join our community by hitting that subscribe button. Until next time, this is Emmanuel Bassi from News Now Nexus, signing off. Stay positive, curious, adventurous, etc., and see you in the next video. God bless.